All right, everybody, welcome back. This is the Good Old Hockey Podcast. This is episode number 9. We got some juicy stuff from last week. I know we recorded, Monday? Seems like everything came out on Tuesday. All this new stuff. But before we get into that, Gally, how's your life been going? Haven't talked to you in a week. How you doing?
Dude, life's been good. Just got a Christmas tree this past weekend. First time I've got a Christmas tree in a quite a few years, I'd say.
Yeah,
Haven't been in the most Christmas spirit, I guess, in that stance for a while. But yeah, I just went up past Idaho City with my girlfriend and my brother and his girlfriend. We just got some cut down some Christmas trees, man, like old school style. Did get a
cool.
permit, so no one come at me for killing the
Yeah,
environment. But
yeah,
it is
Cody,
kind
he's
of a
good, Cody.
yeah,
But
it is kind of a skinny tree. It's not the most like branched out tree, so I could do a little bit better, but it's
it's
got
like a
some character to it. It's slim. And then I did go ice skating too. I didn't have a hockey game this weekend, which just sucked, but had a Tuesday night 10 p.m. start last week, so that was probably the reason why I didn't have anything this weekend. But
yeah.
yeah, man, it was a pretty chill weekend, pretty lax. Watched a lot of football too. Boise State won.
hmm
Sucks that Taylon Green entered the transfer portal
Yeah,
today, though.
I did see that. Yeah. Um, Yeah, I have other opinions, but I mean, it is sad that he's gone, but I wish him the best, whatever he wants to do, um, going forward. I think he also said in his post that I saw today that he's still open to coming back. He's just, I think, exploring options, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see where he ends up. But enough football. Um, for those of you guys that see me right now, doesn't look very familiar. It looks like really high quality. I do have a new job. I just started last Thursday for a podcast studio, actually. Funny enough, out here in Boise, SB Studios. So we will be doing more stuff here in the future, but I just wanted to test this out. I've got to work with someone tomorrow using Riverside, so I was like, why not test it with me and Gally? And clearly, I've kind of worked out some kinks as this is our third take, but you know, that's all part of it. But
Hell yeah.
besides that, we've got some juicy stuff that have happened, so we're going to jump into that. First off, we're going to talk about it. Corey Perry. I don't even know where to start. For those of you that don't know, um, Corey Perry, obviously a very respectable legend in the game, a couple Stanley Cups. Um, Great guy. Oh, I mean, maybe not a great guy, but um, over the last week, so starting 2 weeks ago, Saturday, he got a healthy scratch, and we didn't really know why as fans. I'd heard some speculation about him with someone's mom, that someone being Connor Bedard, but I didn't really have a whole lot of belief in that, or I just saw it as a another internet, um, what is it? Like another internet joke or whatever, just a clickbait thing. So I just kind of not really paid attention to it. And then Tuesday, of course, we wake up and it turns out he has been dropped by the Chicago Blackhawks. And then that's when everything took more flight. And now we're where we're at now. I think that day, that immediately once that came out, everyone was like, oh my God, he slept with Connor Bedard's mom. Like, that's the truth. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, with the internet, oh, anything can take flight and take just a rapid wildfire spread, and that's the truth. Everyone believes it. Later that day, the Chicago Blackhawks came out in a press conference and pretty much said, this is what happened with Corey Perry. Well, they didn't really explain anything, but they just said, we have decided to put him on waivers and terminate his contract, but there was nothing involved with any players or their families. And they kind of put that rumor to rest, we'd say. But then a couple days
Supposedly.
later, supposedly, yeah. A couple days later, then they put out, or Corey Perry put out a statement just saying that he was apologizing, and I guess some alcohol he was like saying how he has had troubles with alcohol or abusing it in some sort of way. Um, And then, yeah, I think the Blackhawks had said something about it being a staff member or something like that. We don't know the whole details yet. And of course, with the Blackhawks and their past, this is not a good look for them.
Dude, for real. And yeah, of course it comes from the Blackhawks organization. They've been having some issues in the past decade
Hmm.
with getting in trouble, but I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily, pointing fingers at the Blackhawks. This is more of a incident related to Corey Perry, if
Oh, yeah.
anything. And yeah, I mean, in a way, he's fucking kind of a legend. I mean, I think he
Yeah.
has two cups under his name.
I want to
Um,
say,
but yeah, this is going to definitely taint his career a little bit, whatever happened. I don't know if we're ever going to figure out what exactly happened and how soon that will actually be, too.
hmm,
But I mean, I think I'm like pretty convinced. I'm like 95% sure that it didn't have anything to do with Bedard. Who knows? Maybe it did in the Hawks, and everyone's just trying to, sweep it under the rug. I doubt it
yeah.
though. I actually don't think it did. And the more I look into it too, it looked like it was some sort of drunken rage incident with some employees of the team. It looks like,
Mm,
but yeah, it looked like it was probably at some team event, is my guess, and
yeah.
it's just a bummer because that kind of obviously tainted Corey Perry's career, and I hope he gets the help he needed because kind of just came out of left field. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like we talked about Corey Perry being a pretty good addition for the Hawks, and
We did. Yeah.
he's a good addition for any team. Seriously, like it's just having that player with grit on your team, and I feel like he was kind of a leader. I feel like some people might not think that as much anymore,
Yeah.
but he's definitely had a pretty good storied career. So it sucks to hear this, and I hope he gets the help he's needed for whatever happened. But um, yeah, it could be something just as simple as he fucked up once though, and he just has to publicly go out and say that because I feel like a lot of that happens to a lot of professional athletes and agents kind of lead them in a direction what to say. um, Crisis management is what some people call it. So
Yeah.
who knows what happened? We won't probably know for a while. Who knows if we'll ever know? But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't think it's Bedarski's mom. That was
No.
fucking crazy when that happened, though,
Yeah.
when it
No. The
came
story,
out.
like all the comments, everything that I'd seen. Yeah, it was just relentless. I'd seen stuff like Corey Perry taking it a little too serious on the whole father figure role for Connor Bedard. Um, I mean, there's endless memes on there that came out of that, which I think will go down as probably one of the craziest stories the NHL has. Just like in terms of rumors like that, at least for the next couple of years. And I think in 5 years when Bedard is the face of the NHL, I don't think people will really be talking about it. But for the next year or so, it'll definitely be some chirps that he might hear, or who knows. But yeah, I think overall, we'll see. I don't know. What do you think about like his future, Corey Perry's
Yeah,
future?
I mean, see, the thing is, social media is it's a devil for professional sports players.
Yeah,
And when some shit happens, it sticks around for a while, and
yeah,
it sucks that this happened to Bedard. I mean, he's 18 years old, his rookie
yeah,
season. I think people who quote unquote are a little softer on the internet probably will forget it in a year or so.
yeah, yeah,
But I do think that there's going to be a lot of trolls for the rest of his career just talking about Corey Perry and vice versa about Connor Bedard's mom.
yeah.
So
Connor
um,
Perry.
I just think that
That's
it's
what I
like
said.
it's probably not gonna go away a little bit, but I don't think it's really gonna affect his play or his reputation or anything. I think if
Yeah,
anything, Perry's reputation is a little bit hurt, but it sucks that Bedard's, such a high profile player, probably the highest profile player of this year coming into the year, just in terms of hype and, what's he gonna do? Um, definitely was Bedard. No one had ever seen him play in the NHL yet, and for that to come in, a quarter of the way through the season, that's tough, man.
yeah,
And I mean, yeah, hopefully it goes away in 5, 10 years, but it could
yeah,
stick around for a while. Just knowing how people on social media and holy shit, the comment sections are
yeah,
ruthless, man. Like
yeah.
any sort of headline I see about that incident, like I just go straight to the comments and laugh my
Yep.
ass off.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's funny. I think for him, I think he'll figure it out. But
I
yeah,
think, I mean, where would you see him going is the real question. Because I think, having a player with that sort of grit on your team, and Corey Perry's a proven winner, proven leader. He's a
yeah,
pest. I think a lot of players hate playing against him because he's gets under your skin. But I've heard a lot of teams are interested in him, even though this happened. And
yeah.
I guess I'll ask you first, but I kind of have opinions of where he's going to go. Where do you think he's going to go?
Honestly, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think this is it
Really?
for him. I do. I mean, he's
Damn.
as a playing on the Blackhawks is one thing, right?
Yeah.
Because all you've got is Connor Bedard and Connor Bedard and then Connor Bedard. And everyone else around him is not. I mean, they got some young people that might be able to help him or just develop in a couple years. But I don't know. Where do you think? And I'll kind of react to that.
Well, I will say he did sign a 1-year deal with
Yeah,
Chicago for $4 million, which is
it's a
near
lot.
mid-range. So
Yeah,
I think
that's a lot
he's
for a 38-year-old.
definitely, yeah, 100%. I think he's still his worth is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think teams are going to see that. There's been players in the past like Tony DeAngelo and Evander Kane that have had some
Yeah,
serious off-ice issues.
yeah, that
I'd
is true.
say potentially more serious. This one's a
Yeah,
little sus because no one's really talking about it though. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
what the actual fuck happened.
yeah,
Um, but no, I mean, I could see a team picking him up. I just don't know when exactly. It's
yeah,
probably gonna have to happen before the trade deadline, is my guess, because they did terminate his contract. So he's a, I want to say he's a free agent right now. So any
yeah,
team can really pick him up. I don't think he's gonna get that $4 million check, but he will at least get to play in the NHL. But out of any teams, I got three teams that I think that he's going to go to. I think the Oilers is one, and I'm kind of just saying that because of the Kane situation. I think
yeah,
that happened with the Evander Kane, and the Oilers were willing to take a chance with him, and I think it's worked out really good for them. I
yeah,
think that he's a good player for the Oilers. He fits in their system. Oilers are still trash regardless this season, but I do think
hmm
that's a good pickup from them. I think that was a couple years ago when that happened. I do think that the Lightning might go after him as well because I know they're kind of middle of the table right now. He does have experience with the Lightning,
yeah,
with the players there, with John Cooper. Um, so that's another avenue I could see him going. And then I do see like possibly the Penguins, just adding to their veteran presence there.
yeah,
Um, so those are the three teams I got him going to. We'll see where he ends up going to, but I think spending that time with the Hawks, even in beginning of the season, few games in, everyone's like the Hawks are going to be bottom of the table,
yeah,
which they still are. But I think he's going to want to compete rather than get money.
yeah,
He does have a couple cups under his belt, so we'll see what he does. Maybe he does just sit out this season. It'd be kind of a bummer if he was just totally done, but I do know, I mean, I saw some reports of teams calling about him, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, that out of all those three teams, I'd say he goes with the Lightning. I'm going to go with the Lightning.
Lightning. Okay,
Yeah, I think they just got more cap space to do
yeah,
it. So
we shall see. But speaking on that, in terms of free agents, this is actually what we talked about last week, right when I think our episode dropped on Tuesday, and we were
yeah,
talking about Mr. Patrick Kane and where we'll see him end up, and we were going to kind of get into that like maybe this week if nothing had come out, and then of course on Tuesday, for those of you that don't know, he is now with the Detroit Red Wings, and to my knowledge, unless he's playing tonight, he has not played yet with them.
hmm
But I talked about him possibly going to the Red Wings to follow DeBrincat.
hmm
And I had
you
heard
did.
it from like Chicklets and other sources that have talked about that. I didn't have any inside sources. I was just listening on the internet. But I also thought Buffalo, um, I think Buffalo had a chance, but then now they're where they're at right now at the bottom of the Atlantic. And I think he just, I think truly he wants to, obviously wants to go to a place where he can make the playoffs and win another cup. where he's at in his career.
Yeah.
And I am really excited to see him play as a Red Wing. I think it'll be cool. Also interesting, he's only played for original six teams: Blackhawks, Rangers,
Yeah.
and Red Wings,
Original six
which is
speed
cool.
run. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's a huge pickup for Detroit. Just, getting that veteran presence. I mean, and fucking legend of
yeah,
American hockey, let
yeah,
alone the NHL. I mean, he's a future Hall of Famer. Um, Patrick Kane is a humongous pickup for any team out there right now.
yeah.
I know he didn't do too much for the Rangers, but I think it's going to be a different turn of events for the Red Wings. We will see how he does though, because he is coming off of a pretty serious, I think it's a hip injury,
It is. Yeah,
that prevented him playing for the first quarter and part of last year. So we'll see how he bounces back from that. But yeah, I think the Wings are going to be looking good in their division now, and yeah, it was surprising. I think the Sabres potentially were his top choice, but yeah, they're not looking too good, too
yeah,
hot, and the Atlantic is such a competitive division. I mean, they're going to need to completely flip the script on their season if they want to make the playoffs, let alone be a contender. Which I think no one had that going into the season. I think a lot of people were like, the Sabres are legit now, but
yeah.
yeah, no, it's tough that they didn't get him, but yeah, it's going to be a huge pickup for the Wings. I mean, the Wings are in their third place in their division right now, and just a point behind Florida. So it's gonna be awesome to see him play. He's actually starting. They announced it today. He's starting tomorrow night, playing Tuesday night for them. So
Against who?
it's a great question. Let me pull that up.
Oh, it's not the Sharks. Okay, I thought it was the Sharks because he had said that, or I'd read somewhere. I think it was on Fantasy that now they play on the 7th.
He's playing against the Sabres
The
in Buffalo
Sabres.
too.
Ooh,
In
yeah,
Buffalo
that's
too.
interesting.
So it's going to be interesting. I feel like
Yeah,
a lot of Sabres fans probably expected him to come there, especially after everything that happened last season. But
yeah,
damn, yeah, that's such a big pickup for the Wings, though. I think that's really gonna just impact the Wings, and like you said, I think DeBrincat's gets play is gonna go up a lot, and it's gonna be so interesting to see him in a Wings jersey, in my
yeah.
opinion. I
No,
just
I
see him in a
agree.
Hawks jersey. Hawks and Wings are kind of rivals in a way, so
Yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah. I think it'll be very interesting. I'm excited for it to see him play tomorrow. I think that'll be a lot of. It'll be a fun game to watch. Just his
definitely.
return and seeing him in that red. But you had said about the Rangers. I wanted to make a note about. I think last year he had very little time with the Rangers. I mean, he was at the trade deadline, and then what? He had March and April, and then I don't even know. Was he playing in the playoffs? Because I think he was hurt at that point. No.
Yeah, I think he did play in the playoffs, but yeah, just it didn't. I mean, there was glimpses of him, his original play when he was like playing with the Hawks. There was glimpses of that. I
There
wouldn't
were,
say it
yeah,
was 100% there last year, but um, the glimpses of it, yeah, it was interesting. I just feel like New York had such a star-studded roster last year, like he wasn't able to slot in.
yeah,
I feel like he was kind of like a second, third line player for them
yeah,
last year. So this year, I think he's going to be in the top two lines. He should be, in my opinion.
yeah,
So it's going to be a little bit different of an environment. I think DeBrincat he does have experience with too. Dylan Larkin's going to be there too. So um, it's going to be interesting. I think DeBrincat and Larkin are. I know Larkin's for sure American, but I think DeBrincat is too.
I don't know about DeBrincat.
Yeah, he's American.
Okay.
So I
Um,
mean, those two players, I'm sure they looked up to Patrick Kane.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, somewhat Larkin. Larkin was, I think, 5 years later, but still, like, I mean, Patrick Kane's such a legend. I feel like it motivates players when they get to play with someone they looked up to at a time.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we'll see. Next week we can break down that game of his first game, see how he's been doing. But next little thing on here is
Yeah, my prediction is that the Wings are going to do really well with them. But
I do too.
yeah, we can move on though.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, next thing we have is one of my favorite topics of the week is the Panthers and Sens game. because holy crap. I think we were recording in the middle of it because I'd been talking about fantasy and being like, oh, Kachuk has 11 penalty minutes already or something like that. And then
Yeah.
we find out that it was a all out just, I mean, it was a Donnybrook. I mean, there was every single guy got for those of you that don't know, every single player on the ice got in some sort of scrum fight. And the ref then came out and it said, every player on the ice gets a 10-minute misconduct. And this was like 9 minutes left in the game. I think the Panthers were up 4-0 at that point, if not 3-0.
Yeah, I think it was
And
four
yeah,
zero. 7 minutes left in the third. It was one of the craziest brawls I've ever seen in the
yeah.
NHL.
Yeah, it was just like all out craziness. And then I think one of my favorite things was them panning to the Kachuk's grandma. And she was just like watching, just like in horror. I mean, she knows like what it's into, but it was just a great clip of her just like sitting there like, oh my God, kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
of course it involves the Kachuk brothers.
yeah, yeah,
Dude, I mean, as a Flames fan, I miss Matthew Kachuk so much, but just because he stirs the pot, but Brady
yeah,
Kachuk does too.
yeah, he does.
Um,
I mean, he
I think
started
it would be,
the one on the ice that
yeah,
led to
yeah,
everything.
100%. He was the first one to get into it with
Yeah.
a player on the Panthers. But yeah, it was crazy. All the freaking player, all the skaters on the ice got 10-minute misconducts, and it would have been
Hmm.
awesome. Cherry on top would have been if the goalies fought. But yeah, no, that's awesome to see because I feel like rarely happens in the NHL.
Yeah.
But yeah, holy shit, I can't believe the thing that's crazy is that all the players on the ice got a misconduct.
Yeah.
And what was crazy to me is that there was kind of ebbs and flows of the fight. Like it started off, everyone was tossing, and then it calmed down a little bit. And like I remember the stream I was viewing it on, they like said, "Oh, this is like chilling out," and then they're like, "Oh, here it goes again." And I
Yeah.
think that's why they got misconducts is because it kind of settled down and there was whistles, and then
Yeah.
they went right back into it. And that's like kind of almost like a double fighting thing, but I guess the refs on the ice, really saw it as a bad thing. And just looking at some videos of it right now, Kachuk is one of the biggest instigators in it. It's very interesting. It was
Both of
crazy
them
too.
are.
Like
Yeah.
Matthew Kachuk was in the box at the time. So
Yeah. So did you see that whole thing? So
yeah,
for those of you listening, I think my favorite part of the whole interaction was before that fight. Kachuk got in a fight with, I forget who, but after that fight, he skated by the benches and he's like chirping someone, just yelling, and then it flips over and he's talking to Brady, and both of them were yelling at each other, just barking about who knows what. I think I saw a clip. Someone asked him about it, um, about like what he was saying, and Brady had said that Matthew was like, "We're gonna jump your guys" or something like that, and I don't know. They were just like jawing at each other. But he had said after the fact that they were like laughing together when they were hanging out with their families after the game. So that's always good to see. I mean, on the ice, it is what it is. But after that, it's all. I think it's. I mean, it's not a show, but they still have a level of respect for each other. And obviously, those two being brothers, they're always going to have. I'm sure they got into worse fights as kids than they are right now.
oh,
But I don't.
100%.
I don't
I'd
think
love
we've
to
ever
see them fight
seen.
actually, though.
I don't think we've ever seen them fight on the ice, have we?
No, I don't know if they ever will. I know
I don't know.
they've people have brought it up because they're both scrappers and pests
Yeah,
in the league, but it's funny because Matthew said Brady would kick his ass, but
yeah.
who knows? It would probably be one. I think it would be one of the most legendary fights
Oh yeah.
of all time. But
Hmm.
then two, I think it would be so big for the NHL. I mean,
Oh
just
yeah.
in terms of the sports world, two brothers, two blood brothers fighting each other that, aren't just blood brothers. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some of the best players in the league too. So,
Yeah.
two high profile blood brothers fighting each other would be huge headlines.
Oh yeah.
That might beat out the Bedard story for this
Oh
year.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, maybe they
I
should
don't
take
know,
one. They should make.
but
Sorry, not the Bedard story. I keep saying that Corey Perry story, but
I mean, it kind of is both.
yeah,
Like
I think
it's
it is
tied
both.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'd take in that fight. Probably say it ends in a draw, but it would be legendary if that happened.
Yeah. I think it'd be. It'd be funny. I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah.
that's it for some of those juicy topics we had last year. But what we're gonna do next. So we've been doing the past couple weeks doing hot or not. Mr. Galley, you've come up with a great name. Did you think of this yourself? Right?
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it other places. I'm
Okay.
not totally sure.
Well, we're
Um,
gonna give you credit for this one. But
yeah, I'm not totally
instead
sure
of
if it
hot or
came up
not,
as me, but
yeah.
yeah.
Instead of hot or not, we're gonna be doing contenders or pretenders. Very same concept of just talking about these teams, and just giving them a title. Are they a contender? Are they a pretender? So first one we got is the Vancouver Canucks. I don't have the standings pulled up in front of me. Are you able to just kind of read
Yeah.
off some of their stuff?
I mean, honestly, with the Canucks, seeing how they've been playing as of recent, they're 5-5 in their past 10. I think that I saw a stat like they only have like 2 or 3 wins against teams that are actually in playoff spots. Um, they lost against the Flame, or pardon me, no, they didn't. They beat the Flames, of course, on Saturday night. The Flames beat the Knights. Sorry, I got excited, everyone. Um, but yeah, I did see, they lost against the Sharks last week. That's
Yeah,
iffy, and
6-3.
um, they lost against the Avalanche. I mean, there's a lot of teams they've lost against that aren't good. I do think that they have the best defenseman in the league for this year. So that's the thing about it. I think Quinn Hughes is probably favorite for the Norris right now, but um, it's a little bit hard for me to say. I'd say they are contenders for a playoff spot, but I would say they're pretenders when it comes to Stanley Cup. So kind of in between those
Yeah.
answers, I guess. But that's probably what I would put the Canucks as. I mean, what
Okay.
about you?
I like that take. Just saying how they're contenders for the playoffs, but maybe not for the cup. I mean, yeah, I think every team's going to go through ups and downs through like 10 games if we look at it. And they've obviously losing to the Sharks is not a good bid for yourself if you're going for that contender role.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think with how easy the Pacific is this year, I think they definitely have a good shot at the playoffs. Assuming everything continues and they can keep playing well. Quinn Hughes stays healthy, continues his work that he's been doing. But yeah, I would give them contenders, and honestly, I think, I mean, the Knights are going to be tough, but I mean, looking out west, I mean, I think the Stars, the Avs, and I mean the Kings are kind of lighting up too. It's tough. I'm going to
Yeah.
give them contenders though,
Okay.
just
Okay.
full out.
I
I
like
think they
that.
have
And
a
I mean,
shot.
don't get me wrong. I think they have the leader in goals and defenseman points. So
Yeah,
I think that's very important. But as a team, I just don't think they're clicking against good teams necessarily. I think they're getting a lot of points and winning games against these teams that aren't as good, which, a win's a win. But
yeah,
I do think as the season progresses, I think even by the All-Star break or halfway point, we'll see where they're at. Um, I think they're going to be around. I think they're going to be around top wild card spot, maybe the 3 spot in the Pacific. But that is going to kind of depend on the Calgary Flames. So
yeah,
I'm optimistic about that. But
yeah,
Calgary Flames are kind of pretenders. Some nights I'm like they're contenders, but other nights like they're pretenders. But
yeah. Not very
yeah,
consistent.
it is going to depend on them though, because I think the Kings and the Knights have solid teams. I think they're going to lock up that division spot, but um, depending on if another team's able to really pick up speed in the Pacific, the Canucks do have that spot. So
Yeah, I agree. Cool. All right. Well, the next one we got here are their friends in the Central, the Arizona Coyotes. So, what's their last 10?
they're 6-3-1, and they're on a 4-game win streak right now.
That's
So
right.
um, I think with the Coyotes, they're sneaky. I
Yeah.
do think that necessarily, I think I'd almost put them in the same boat as the Canucks, kind of pretenders when it comes to the cup, but um, they're starting to pick up speed just as a team in general. So I think they could definitely contend for a playoff spot in the West. Um, I could even see them if they do keep this up, they could probably even, hop over the Jets because they're only 2 points behind the Jets right now in the standings. I think their team is just full of youth, and that's huge in the NHL.
Yeah.
I think they are kind of lacking when it comes to, experienced players with cups and whatnot. But there's quite a good, wide like spread of points on their teams too.
Yeah.
So I think that if I were to give them anything, though, they're pretenders just because they're in such a hard division. I think there's better teams in the West than them when it comes to playoff experience. So I'd have to slap that label of pretender. I don't think it's out of the picture that they don't make the playoffs, but
Yeah. I would give them more of a pretender than I would the Canucks. I don't think they really have a shot at the cup. I mean, I can see them making playoffs.
yeah,
Um, but the Canucks, I think I have more confidence if I were to put my money on them. But yeah, I would say the Coyotes, they're definitely having a good stretch, and I think for Coyotes fans, they've had a long, hard road of some bad teams. Um, and I think they're kind of starting to come together, and these pieces that they've been waiting for to develop, just getting better and better. Um, so I'm happy to see that as a hockey fan, just seeing teams progress, and some of these players like Clayton Keller, I really like um, getting some success and stuff like that. So yeah, I would put them as pretenders though, as a whole. But I think give it a couple years, and I think that could change.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
I think them making the playoffs is very important for
yeah,
them to even progress this year. So I think they're starting to push for it. It's going to be interesting. I think it'd be cool to see hockey succeed in Arizona, but it's probably
yeah,
going to start with this team here.
yeah.
I would
Maybe they
hate to
get
see them
Matthews in a
blow it up
couple
again.
years. Those
100%.
3 years away, 3 years from now, when his contract's
Yeah,
up, maybe they get Matthews, and that team changes completely. But yeah, we're gonna slap a pretenders on them. All right, so got the Coyotes. Next team we have on here is the Rangers. They are what 8-2-0 in the last 10.
yeah. No, they're looking really good. I think that out of anyone in the East, they're top two contenders. I think in the league, you could potentially even put them top two, top three. Um, I mean, their goaltending's looking excellent. Defense core is looking excellent. They're one of the highest scoring teams in the East. They're looking really, really good, and it's probably scaring a lot of teams out East.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'd totally slap contenders on them. I think what's something that's very interesting is Jonathan Quick's 7-0-1, which I think he was, in his higher 30s. I know I talked about him at the beginning of the season, but I think he's such a big addition for the Rangers, and
yeah,
he takes a lot of that workload off of Shesterkin. So pretty pretty impressive with what they got going on over there at the Rangers. But what's your take on that?
yeah. I mean, I think they're definite contenders, especially out in the East. Um, I mean, we got Boston too, but I think the Rangers just look hot, and I think they got unlucky last year in the playoffs against a good Devils team as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm honestly happy for Quickie. Even though he is a former King, he's still an American goalie, so um, I still want to root for him in that aspect. And I'm curious. It's kind of funny though, just how he was in LA having no success. Not no success, but he just wasn't himself. And then gets traded to Columbus, and then Vegas wins a cup with them for. I mean, he didn't. I don't even think he played a game,
Yeah,
but won another Stanley Cup regardless. And
at least
now
in the playoffs. I think he
he's
played a little bit in the regular season for them. So
yeah, that's right. He didn't play in the playoffs at all, but still, um, Aiden Hill took over after was it Brissois that got hurt? I think I don't know. Regardless, um, yeah, I'm excited for him. It's good to see that he's doing well. And I mean, if you're backing up Shesterkin as well, like it's a pretty good gig. Um, we'll see.
100%.
They could, yeah. I think that's scary out east though, having Boston with Swayman and Olmark, and then having those
Yeah,
two also. Yeah,
I think that in their division, I think they're going to take home their division. I don't
yeah,
necessarily see the Canes catching up to them. I think it's a possibility, but they still have that 8 point stretch on the Canes. It is early in the
Yeah.
season, so we'll see what happens. But I mean, the
Yeah.
Rangers are in the driving seat right now for their division, let alone a pretty high seed in the West when it comes to the playoffs. So shit, already talking about the playoffs. It's not even
Yeah.
halfway through the season.
I know.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, the Rangers, I definitely would say they're contenders. And
Yeah. No, I agree. Cool. Well, that is all the teams we have this week for that. But I love that name still, the contenders or pretenders, because I liked hot or not, but it really wasn't. It was very basic. I like contenders or pretenders is very NHL oriented, so I like that a lot.
totally.
But up next, this is something new, also something you thought of, which I love. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna build a starting lineup for an NHL team, but instead of using hockey players, we're gonna be using football players. So, do you wanna? How do you wanna do this? Do you wanna go? I think we should go left, kind of like how I had it: left wing, center, right wing, lefty, right D goalie.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can totally do
All right.
that. We
Yeah.
got
Sorry.
Tyreek Hill on the left wing, Lamar Jackson in the center. We
Okay.
got Derrick Henry, right wing. Lefty, we got Sauce Gardner, cornerback. And we got Micah Parsons, the right D. And then the goalie, we got Jalen Ramsey. And I have a great backup for why Jalen Ramsey. But I'll let you go for your starting five.
Okay. Did you give
Starting
goalie yet?
six, pardon me.
Wait, who's goalie for you?
Jalen Ramsey.
Okay. Okay, that's right. All right. So, for my top six, my first three, I'm going to fire out all together. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Justin Jefferson on the left wing, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase on the right wing. So, Joe Burrow center, Justin Jefferson left wing, and right wing, Jamar Chase. I think to bring them back all together and have that be your forward F1 would be so fun to see. Joe Burrow being the playmaker at center, being the captain of the team, and then you got two speedy left and right wings who
100%.
can make some plays. And then for defense, I mean, I'm not super well in tuned with defense, but I picked for my left wing, I had Fred Warner. He's got the size. He's defensive. He's more of the defensive defenseman, right? And then on right wing, I have Darius Slay on the Eagles. He's their cornerback. He's going to be more of the like offensive defenseman, just kind of that pairing
Definitely.
of a big D man and then someone that can get some offense for them as well. Ideally, I did want to do Deion Sanders, but I know we're doing current players. But Deion, with how offensive he was as well as defensive, would be a funny like offensive defenseman. And then for goalie, I've got some size in that. I've got Trent Brown of the Patriots. He's 380 pounds and he's 6'8". He's 30 years old. But instead of going with, I didn't really know who to pick for like an athletic goalie or like someone who would play like, I don't know, like Quick, like Jonathan Quick. So I just went with size, pure size. I mean, I think if an NHL goalie was 6'8" and 380 pounds, I don't think anyone would score.
Yeah,
Now,
that would be insane.
I don't know that if he were to go down in a butterfly position, someone shoots low, I don't know that he could get back up,
Yeah.
or at least in enough time. But if he's 6'8" and 380 pounds, I don't know that that net is going to have any openings at all.
Yeah, I'd like to see someone within hockey do that. I want to see someone that's just humongous play
Yeah.
goalie. I feel like it would
Well,
still
we do
have
have,
to. I would say
yeah,
like, dude, it still takes a lot of reactions and
it
whatnot.
does. It does.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great pick. In terms of just protecting the net, having someone that's 380 and 6'8". That's
Yeah.
crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, today's players, you have to be able to go in a butterfly or you're fucked. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, just to dive in my picks a little bit more, Tyreek Hill, he's left-handed. He's able to create space, like I said, on the wings, got fast breaks, plays through injuries. He's just solid on the wing. At center, we got Lamar Jackson. So with Lamar Jackson, I feel like a lot of people are going to give me shit for this, but he's physical. He's both great at passing, and that's debatable. I know the passing part, but he, check out the stats compared to other quarterbacks in the league. Not saying he's the best thrower in the league, but he can run, and I think he's got that good football IQ. He's able to make plays happen. Most
Yep.
importantly, he's a leader. And if you got a center that's
Yeah.
a leader, I think
Mm-hmm.
people are going to like that a lot. And
Yeah.
the players around him. I think he really drives players around him. And then, my right wing, Derrick Henry, I think he's just able to plow over
Oh
anyone.
yeah.
He's
Power forward.
huge. I think he would have a huge, just such a killer slap shot, 1T too.
Oh
So
yeah.
I can see him kind of being like the Ovechkin on the power play for a lot of teams. But I think he would just be so hard to get off the puck. He's just extremely strong, and yeah, I think he would run over a lot of players. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of my
Yeah.
pick. So then, obviously for my defense, I think Sauce Gardner is one of the best cornerbacks. So I think he's kind of, it's hard to get past him. But I would also say Micah Parsons. He's fucking incredible DN linebacker, very athletic. They're both defensive defensemen, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Micah Parsons probably, if anything, would be able to create a little bit of offense, but having those two back there would be very difficult to get past. Let alone the goalie being Jalen Ramsey. I kind of did that as a meme because Jalen Ramsey said he could become an NHL goalie within six
Oh
months
yeah.
of training,
Yeah.
which fuck it, he's going to be my
Yeah.
goalie then if we do this, if this ever comes into real life. But
It's a real life.
he's
Yeah.
also he's also a good cornerback, so
Yeah.
I think he'd be a solid goalie in reaction
Mm-hmm.
time and reaction speed, and he did have the confidence to say that. So I think
Yeah.
that he's got that then.
He does. Yeah. No, I think a big thing he would have probably the most confidence in goal. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think those are good picks. All right, we're gonna throw this to you guys, the fans that are listening. If you do get to this point and heard that, whose team do you think would win? We can repeat them for you guys. Left wing for me, Justin Jefferson. Center is going to be Joe Burrow. Right wing, I've got Jamar Chase. Left wing, I've got Fred Brown. Or, God damn. Not Fred Brown. Fred Warner. And then for right defenseman, I've got Darius Slay, the offensive defenseman. And then Trent Brown, 380 pounds, 6'8" offensive lineman. And then for
Yes.
Galleys,
And then my top six is or six lineup is Tyreek Hill at the left, Lamar Jackson at center, Derrick Henry at right, Sauce Gardner back on D, Micah Parsons back on D, and then Jalen Ramsey for the cornerback. So that's kind of my starting lineup. I think hate to say it, but Trent Brown's going to get sniped on.
hey, if you know what, one of those wingers could probably Derrick Henry could probably you know what? Okay. Derrick Henry could find the hole. If he can find the hole in when he's like running back, he could probably find the hole in this guy, Trent Brown. So but yeah, I think that wraps up everything. We got a good 45 minutes. That's not bad. Actually, that's good.
Yeah, not
We've
bad
been
at
trying to
all.
keep our shows a little bit shorter just because we know people don't always want to listen to us for an hour when they can listen to someone else. So, but yeah, it was a good episode. We had a lot of crazy stuff this last week, everything like that with all the news and stuff. If only we had had an episode that we were recording on like Tuesday or something, we could have gotten all like super quick, but we wanted to touch on it. So,
Seriously.
but let's see, future stuff. What is this today? Today's Monday. We're recording this. This will probably come out tomorrow, Tuesday. On Wednesday, if you're listening to this in time, we're going to have our 1 year anniversary live show on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on Spotify or anything else, all the links are in the bio. You can go to that, notify yourself, subscribe us, follow us on Instagram because that's where you're going to get the most updates for everything like that with that stuff. But we also do have our fan voting open right now. It'll probably not be open Wednesday around like 1 or 2, like the afternoon. I'll close it just so I can count up everything and make some stuff for it. But if you guys haven't already, make sure you go vote and do all that stuff for us so we can see and we just want a good sample size, right? Vote for us for podcast of the year. That's the biggest thing in that vote.
Come on
got
now.
up against all three of those. I think as of right now, it's a close race. Last time I checked, we were not in the lead though. I'm not going to say who was in the lead, but I want you guys to vote for us. If you're listening to this at this point, go vote for us for Podcast of the Year. And yeah, anything else you got left, Gally?
No, I'm excited for Wednesday. I think
Yeah,
anyone that is hearing this, please tune in. It's going to be a
yeah,
interesting Wednesday night to say the least.
yes,
I think we may be doing something like our last live stream where
yep,
we do a dollar donated as a
yeah,
drink or shot. So
yeah,
I may very well have some whiskey available to me.
yeah.
So willing to get down and dirty for the donations. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's going to be a hell of a show. I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Words are going to be good. I think we're going to go over some good things. It's going to be sweet to have all of us on there too. All what
Yeah.
is it, 8 of us? So
I think 9. We all 9
nine
of
of
us.
us. Okay,
Yep.
right on. So yeah, no, it's going to be
So,
a sweet time. Check it out on Wednesday night. Be a good way to fill your night. We ain't
mhm.
got football that night. It's
Nope.
going to be some hockey, but it's going to be a good
Yeah.
way to fill
It'll
your
be late
time.
at night, so I don't think there'll be much hockey on. Trust me, this will be more fun than the hockey game. The one time I'll recommend listening to us over hockey will be Wednesday night. So, but with that being said, everyone, thank you for listening. If you're at this point, don't forget to follow us on Instagram for all those updates with everything. And we will catch you guys in the next episode, maybe with Gally here if we can get that coordinated in the studio. But so long, guys, and have a great week.
Later.